On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks are still waiting for some things to happen. They need to get a big. They need to get a wing. What trades are they waiting to pull off? We got 3 each on today's Locked On Mavs. Let's go.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
10 Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad, be an everydayer, subscribe or follow for free. Just search Locked On Mavericks wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, where you can join the 25,000 strong, almost 26. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Make a prediction. Predict the Mavericks' very next move in the offseason. I'm curious what you guys think it'll be. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us. I answered a whole bunch of questions today. You literally get a text to your phone. I'm texting all the rumors all throughout this. I sent dozens of messages over the last couple of days of all the rumors that I've seen. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description below or text the number. We're almost at 200, which is pretty freaking cool. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The waiting warrior, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on what Luka's thinking right now. He's probably looking at the Portland situation, looking at how Portland's treating Dame, and trying to see if depending on where they send Dame, if Portland's going to be an option for him down the road, if he'll ever go there. So I'm just
it all depends on how they treat Dame. If they treat Dame well, then maybe Luka will want to go there.
All the stars will just stop flocking to Portland if they treat Dame bad.
What I really think Luka is probably thinking right now, because he probably just got finished with another workout.
I need a recovery beer.
I bet he's had some beer.
I'm sure. Today's show, we're going to get into some trades. The Mavericks are waiting to do something. They're waiting to do some moves. We know that they want to still make some moves. All the rumors and all the talk and all the things have said that the Mavericks still want to make some kind of move. And so we got 3 trades each that we're going to share that we think the Mavericks may be waiting on to try and get a center, a wing, or both. In a what? Do you have a trade for them to get something different?
No, I one of mine's just kind of like out of left field,
and then we also have a left field trade that comes completely out of left field. That's completely off the wall. Let's get into a couple of rumors though. First, Mark Stein reported this. This is not a way to start a show, but here we are. Mark Stein reported that Houston's first-year offer to Dwight Powell was richer than the $8 million deal that Jock Landale will receive in the first year of his 4-year, $32 million deal. Jock's deal is only the first year guaranteed. So Dwight Powell took a pay cut to come back to the Mavericks.
Yeah, let's go. No, I mean, I think it tells you that, we've said this all along about the value of having Dwight Powell on your team in the locker room, and now at like a reasonable price. It's
right.
Always, he signed that extension, years ago, and he's been making over $10 million and been asked to be a starting center, and are like, all right, this really isn't, like, it's kind of above his pay grade a little bit. Now he gets to become just hopefully just a backup center, making $3 to $4 million a year. So yeah, and all the intangible stuff we always talk about, a team like Houston, they wanted to bring adults to the locker room and reset their culture. Right. And Dwight is a guy who helps establish a culture. So doesn't shock me that they were, or interested in him, but he wants to stay in Dallas. So
there was a market for Dwight Powell. So to answer everybody, why would the Mavericks such an overpay? Well, he was going to get double, with more than double, at least in that first year, with the Houston Rockets. So there was a market for him out there.
I think Houston is more interested in Dwight than Kyrie.
Who was closer to having a meeting with the Rockets? Kyrie Irving or Dwight Powell?
Dwight Powell.
You know what I think about that?
It's great. It's great, dude. Dude, it's great. It's great. It's great, broski. Bro Namath, it's great.
I love that we still get to use that drop.
I love Bro Namath.
One more thing is that our friend CBA Mavs on Twitter crunched the numbers and figured out that Grant Williams would likely cost the Celtics $37 million in tax next year.
Yeah.
$12 million for his salary and then $37 million in tax. That's like a $50 million bill just to match a Grant Williams offer sheet. So the Mavericks are still waiting on that. Mark Stein had a piece today. He had a bunch of chat stuff today I was following, and the only thing he's still saying is the Mavericks are holding out that mid-level exception, which they do still have. He confirmed that. They still have that, and they're holding it out for Grant Williams, Matisse Thybulle, some kind of combination of, those guys and somebody else or whoever. And so that's what they're waiting on right now is Grant Williams.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Boston's up to right now because they still haven't signed Jaylen Brown to the extension.
Yeah.
And then the Grant Williams stuff. Yeah, I don't know what they're up to or what their holdup is. Are they waiting? Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it feels like Mark Stein's been saying he doesn't think Boston's going to match. So whether it's Dallas, whether it's Charlotte, we know Dallas interested in him. It's just a matter of will he take MLE? Can they pull off a 3-team trade thing? I thought Tim Cato wrote a great piece on The Athletic today talking about some just different paths. There's so many different. Whenever these deals get agreed to in the moratorium and they're not official yet, even like the Bertans, Rashawn Holmes trade and all of that, that's still not official. None of this stuff is really official. So much of the fine tuning of it or all the details can change. And even Cato talking about right now Seth Curry is the, biannual, but what if they don't get, or what if they sign and trade with Grant and then they use the MLE to split up between Seth and Thybulle and then save the buy. There's so many different things like that can happen, post moratorium later on this week.
Every year we do this. It's order of operations. It's okay. You can do all these moves, but you can change the order and do different things with it, right? It all depends on when you do them. And this year it becomes a little bit more complicated with the new CBA. But yeah, to your point, they're also on the Mavericks side of things. They have to wait for Grant Williams or Matisse Thybulle until Thursday, the 6th. So they have to wait till then to offer them. The other teams could go ahead and try and do something, but and try and get a deal done, an extension or whatever. Teams do that all the time. But for the other teams that don't employ that player, they have to wait until Thursday. So that's what we're kind of waiting on the Grant Williams front. On the other front, the Mavericks still need to make an improvement at the center spot. So I've got some trades that we can talk about and get into. Do you have one? Do you have one you want to start with?
Yeah, well, let's keep on that same topic, and I'll throw out one that I actually texted you a few days ago.
Yeah,
that if you try to pull off a double sign and trade, and it's including Grant Williams, it's including PJ Washington, it gets really tricky in this because when you sign and trade a player and you send them out, it's not salary for salary. There's a percentage of the salaries and stuff that works on it, but for the most part, without getting into crunching all the numbers, let's assume that a sign and trade for both Grant Williams and PJ Washington will be for 4 years. Okay. So if you do that, what are you going to say?
Sign and trade has to be at least 3 years. So we're.
Yeah. So could Charlotte take in Grant Williams on a sign and trade, get Peyton Pritchard and JaVale?
Okay.
Boston gets Reggie Bullock and Nick Smith, recent draft pick.
Interesting.
Dallas gets PJ Washington on a sign and trade.
So the Mavericks are sending out Reggie Bullock, they're sending out JaVale McGee, and they're getting back PJ Washington, and they're not getting Grant Williams.
Correct. Yes.
So you get younger, you get a little bigger, you get more athletic.
Yes.
Little worse 3-point shooting, but he probably shoots better in September and in November and December than Reggie will. I like that move because you get off of JaVale's deal too. Hey, yeah, heck yeah, do that. The thing is, it becomes a sign and trade, and then the Mavericks are hard capped, and do they have to do something else because they're hard capped at the first apron? And so
yeah,
it's a little complicated.
If they use their MLE, they're going to be hard capped. So I feel like they're already going to be operating they're going to be hard capped anyway. And the only thing with Boston is if they're going to lose Grant, it's probably going to be because they don't want to pay all the luxury tax stuff. And in this case, it wouldn't be the full number that you'd be signing and trading Grant for, but you still would be getting Reggie Bullock back and Nick Smith. So I put Nick Smith in there from Charlotte because I'm like, man, I wonder if it would be enough for them to say, hey, Reggie still play kind of like the Marcus Smart role for us a little bit, or at least be a wing shooter, not like the point guard. And then is Nick Smith worth the tax for that for Boston? So I think Dallas would probably have to add a little bit more in there of like just Reggie and JaVale for PJ Washington. Might have to throw something else in there, but
yeah, it's an interesting one to start with to get a wing and to get younger and more athletic and bigger and all that stuff. Coming up, I got some trades for centers. We can discuss some of those trades. The Mavericks could be waiting on. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You can go check out Prize Picks right now, and all you have to do is pick 2 to 6 players, and if they score more or less than their projections on Prize Picks, you're not playing against a bunch of guys that just spend all their time winning these fantasy leagues and spend all their time listening to those podcasts that tell you how to win, that listen to Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Do that. You're not playing against them. You're playing just against the projections and you. So, oh my gosh. They have the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on there.
Oh, this is gross.
Joey Chestnut. How many? What do you think is the Prize Picks more like projection for him? Hot dogs.
74.5.
72.5.
Oh my God.
You're so close. 72.5 more or less. Let me go more for Joey Chestnut. The next closest one is this guy Jeffrey at 49.5. Like, are we?
Get out of here, Jeffrey.
We're not building up the next generation of hot dog eaters, so I'm going less for him. I'll go a little more for the guy after him. If I put down
some more time in the gym,
if I put down $20 or at Nathan's, or at the ballpark, put down $20 on that. I could win 100 if they all hit. If I put down, let's say $100, I'm feeling spicy. I could win $500 on that. So you can go to Prize Picks, download the app, use the promo code Locked On. You'll get $100 if you deposit $100. They'll match that. Again, don't forget the promo code Locked On at sign up. Initial deposit up to $100. Prize Picks promo code Locked On. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of this show. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening, hanging out with us. I want to shout out a guy that I saw at the grocery store the other day, came up to me, and he was like, Locked On Mavs, and that's correct. And he did get a sticker. He got a sticker. Pulled it right out of my wallet.
For me?
Pulled it right out of my wallet.
You gave him a condom.
The stickers do look like condoms, especially when they're coming out of my wallet.
That's so weird. Somebody's walking past you in Kroger or something. Like,
what is that guy doing? Like,
did he just ask him? It's like they'll
probably walk by and be like, that dude just did that other dude is solid. He needed help in his time of need. He had a specific need, and this guy was like, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
It's the 2023 version of Can I Get a Light?
It's kind of. It requires more consent, but yeah, it does. Let's do a couple more trades. All right, Jarrett Allen. This is the big one that I think some people are talking about. Mark Stein reported a couple days ago that the Cavs are a little more open to trading Jarrett Allen than maybe a lot of people thought. Mark Stein also answered a chat question today, and someone said, could the Mavericks get in on that, on Jarrett Allen? He says, probably not. They'll probably require a lot of draft compensation. And so I thought about that, and I said, okay, well, maybe I need to temper my expectations for a Jarrett Allen trade. Would you do?
Well, yeah. If you're expecting it, then...
Well, I mean, for what it would take to get Jarrett Allen is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Jarrett Allen and Isaac Okoro.
Yep.
Who's got 1 year left, kind of same as Josh Green. For Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, JaVale McGee, and the first-round pick in 2027. You get it? So it sounds like a lot because it's two of the Mavericks' three good young assets besides the rookies. Because it's Josh Green and the first-round pick. But you get a Okoro back, so you get somebody. You get a defender back. Okoro's a little bit bigger than Josh Green. Can't shoot as well as Josh Green. Doesn't have the offensive game. You get off of JaVale's deal. You get the upgrade to Jarrett Allen, where you get your center. You fix the one big thing they need to fix, right? Like, at a certain point, shouldn't they just go out and do the thing? Like, get a guy.
Who's the out of the contract in it?
Isaac Okoro and Jarrett Allen.
Yeah, no, for Dallas.
For Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, and JaVale.
I think I would do it. I think so.
It's tough. Jarrett Allen's been, like, let me hype Jarrett Allen up. He's been an all-star. He fits exactly what the Mavericks need. He knows his role. Kyrie Irving did not want him to play in Brooklyn, and they benched him for DeAndre Jordan, so maybe that's something you have to iron out and figure out, but that was years ago at this point. But Jarrett Allen would be so good. He would finally fix all the problems the Mavericks have had at that spot. He doesn't add a ton of...
He loves Pokemon.
He doesn't add a ton of... Him and Grant Williams could get along with the Pokemon thing. But he doesn't add a ton of size as far as guarding Jokic, right? Like, or if you're looking at that, or
he's better than what they got.
But he's better than what they've got. He's bigger. He'll defend the rim. It'll change the Mavs defense in such a big way that at a certain point, all right, if a guy's available, when's the next time a guy like this is going to be available? Like, is your next best opportunity to get a center like this waiting for Derek Lively to be ready, right? Like,
yeah, having a 1-2 punch of, Jarrett Allen and Lively would be kind of fun.
Yeah, because you got the one guy that can roll really well, then Lively's, has a shot, and Jarrett Allen's only signed for 3 years, $20 million a year. That's our perfect center number, right? We've been talking about that all offseason. And in 3 years, Derek Lively will be 22. That's exactly when you expect a center to step up and to be ready to start. And so if that happens, they move on from Jarrett Allen, they do a sign and trade, they do something with him at the end. And then Derek Lively can step up if that's what happens at the time. But 3 years from now, anything could happen. I mean, Kyrie may be on 3 different teams by then. Like, who knows?
Yeah, and add Okoro in this, former top 10 pick just a handful of years ago. He's a defender. The shots kind of broke, but you're adding defense in it and stuff too. I think one of the trickier things with Josh that no one wants to talk about right now is, you got to figure out what you're going to pay him pretty dang soon. So
yeah, I mean, next year
he's been in the league for a few years now. So restricted free agency and all that stuff's going to be coming up, really soon, the next calendar year or so. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, I think I would do it. You'd still maintain a young core, Lively, Omax, Jaden Hardy, while still getting better at the same time with Jarrett Allen as your starting center. Yeah, I think I would do it. Yeah. And
you get off of a bad contract in JaVale and off of, a redundancy in Tim Hardaway at this point. So
yeah.
Yeah. I'm at the point, and maybe it's because we've reached the point of desperation a little bit. Like, my desperation level has increased, and I started to do some Ayton trades, and Brendan Clean and I were texting back and forth about Ayton trades again for the Suns. And
oh Lord,
he was like, would they put Josh Green in a trade? And I was like, well, no. I think I would put Josh Green in a Jarrett Allen trade. So how different is DeAndre Ayton and Jarrett Allen? Like, the contract is a lot different. You're paying a lot more for DeAndre Ayton. How much? And Brendan Clean says he thinks that Ayton's a better player than Jarrett Allen. I don't know that I believe either way, but
yeah, well, I think there's two parts of that trade. One, you are still getting a wing defender and a Okoro in that trade.
Yeah.
And then two, yeah, I mean, you're talking about Jarrett Allen, who's what, $12 million cheaper than DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
and that changes some of your roster flexibility and stuff too. I think overall Ayton's a better player, but the other stuff.
Quite literally the difference between getting Grant Williams and not getting Grant Williams with it, right? So, like, you only do Ayton, or you get Jarrett Allen and Ayton, or get Jarrett Allen and Grant Williams if you pull this off. So that's what you're weighing there. All right, give me another one of yours.
I don't know if mine's dependent. I mean, I guess it could be because Atlanta still hasn't done some other things. I really worked really hard on like Dame, James Harden. How can they get third team stuff? It just gets so difficult. But so I just went back to Atlanta. If Atlanta's trying to do some other things, they're wanting to cut some money. DeJounte Murray's entering a contract year. So I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I don't think, why are you raising your eyebrows?
Oh, it's just a bad connection, and you made like a crazy sound. So we've got some wind and storm stuff here in Dallas, and so people have had weird connections all day.
I thought you saw a tweet or something.
Just like, FYI. Right. No, it just was a really loud sound in my ears.
So anyway, DeJounte Murray, contract year. I think Atlanta's probably going to end up paying him a big time contract. Trey's already making over $40 million a year. They have all these other bigger contracts. What if they looked at Dallas and said, all right, we're about to pay Trey and DeJounte basically a combined like $90 million a year. We got to figure out a way to still stay relevant, but also get off some like long-term money. And you know what? Coming up after the break, let me tell you the framework of the deal.
Talk about that coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
We back.
All right, Isaac. set up that trade again as we try to figure out how the Mavericks can get in on some trades that the Mavericks are waiting to do for whatever reason.
All right, so if Atlanta's really serious about getting off money, and especially like long-term money,
right?
If they're about to pay DeJounte Murray a massive contract to pair him and trade together for a long time, what if it's Tim Hardaway, Reggie Bullock, and JaVale McGee for DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovic? Now, you probably have to throw in like a Hardy or a first-round pick into that. But the appeal for Atlanta is, one, Reggie Bullock's an expiring contract, so then he comes off your book.
Right.
Tim Hardaway and JaVale will then line up for Clint Capela with Clint Capela's contract if you don't trade Clint Capela. So then it's not next summer, but the summer after that, basically all you have on your books is Trey and DeJounte at that point. And then you can figure out the rest of your roster. And it's kind of like your reset moment. Now, they'll probably have to pay, Kongwu at some point.
Next year.
The appealing part of that for Atlanta is, how serious are they about getting off money? Because their books is still pretty crazy after even dumping John Collins. So that's just one I would revisit if I mean, obviously I'm higher on DeAndre Hunter than some, but in that scenario, Bogdan could come off the bench and take your Tim Hardaway role, and he can also play make a little bit, but him, Seth Curry and Jaden Hardy would be kind of funny because it's just like all offense. Let's do this thing. But I don't know. I don't think Atlanta does it. Dallas probably have to add in like the first round pick or something, but I'd like Hunter in Dallas.
Yeah, well, Hunter and Capela, right?
Yes. I mean, this trade I have Hunter and Bogdan as the two people coming.
Yeah.
To Dallas.
Bogdan brings a level of ball handling that the Mavericks still do need.
Friendship to Luka.
Friendship. And then Hunter's contract is long. Like that's the one where I'm really looking at them trying to get off of. And the Mavericks have been connected to that one. And yeah, I don't know. That one's interesting. I got two more.
For Atlanta this year, it'd be swapping out, DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovic for Tim Hardaway and Reggie Bullock. So definitely a drop down, but both those guys are still playing.
But they're dropping down so that they can pay them less.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of the deal. All right, I got a Zubac one.
Ooh, this is good.
I have no idea why you do this, just to change things up, I guess. Tim Hardaway, Bullock, and JaVale for Zubac, Robert Covington, and Batum.
Tim Hardaway.
It's so hard for the money to work out with Clippers because it has to be. You have to take in more than they are, just by a little bit to make it work, because they're a second apron team. So the appeal to the Clippers would be, hey, Tim could play the Eric Gordon role. You get more shooting. You get more shooting with Tim and Reggie. Maybe they think Reggie is better than Robert Covington was last year, and Batum's aging. With JaVale, you get like a backup center. There's not really much to that. Zubac, move off of him. You go from Zubac to Tim and double down on shooting. They've always been better as like going small anyway.
Yeah, Zubac would be I think a prime like stopgap center type for Dallas.
Absolutely, yeah. Him. I got one more for Zubac.
Yeah.
All right, I got one for a Harden trade.
I worked on this earlier. I wonder if it's similar.
It's so hard. Dallas gets Zubac, and they get Marcus Morris.
Okay. In
doing so, they have to re-sign Markieff Morris so that they can have them together. That's just part of the CBA rules. Like, the new CBA that comes out, the Morris twins. Now that the Lopez twins are together, the Morris twins now have to be together.
You have twins over the age of 30. They got to be on the same team.
They have to be on the same team.
Read the fine print.
Yeah. The Clippers get Harden and Rashawn Holmes.
This is really similar to what I mean.
It's the only one that works. It's hard. The Sixers get Norman Powell, Tim Hardaway, so you come away with some shooting, and then they get Brandon Boston, BJ Boston in that too. So they get somebody young as well.
No Terrence Mann in that.
Well, Terrence Mann makes $10 million, so it's hard to find like an extra $10 million that goes all three ways, like all around.
Yeah, I think the only changes I had on it was like Zubac and Batum in Dallas, and then It also depends on what direction Philly takes, like post Harden trade.
Yeah.
Like what can they get? Do they care about win now players, or do they want, a pick or two or some like young guys? That's where it gets a little tricky for me. But yeah, if Dallas, without getting too complicated, if Dallas could hop in as the third team in that trade and walk away with Zubac and one of those wings, like Zubac and Nick Batum, Zubac and Marcus Morris, I'd probably be least excited about Zubac and Covington. I think I would take Batum and Morris over Covington, but
I would rather have Covington than Morris.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Dallas should hop into that.
Okay, I think I figured out one that works with Terrence Mann.
On the fly.
Yeah. Okay, so it's the same thing for the Mavericks. They get Marcus Morris and Zubac.
Okay.
The Clippers get James Harden, Rashawn Holmes, and Korkmaz. And then the Sixers get, there's just a contract. Sixers get Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, and Tim Hardaway.
I mean, this just goes back to like what more in them wants for Harden, because it's like there's no young. I know, but like Terrence Mann's the best young guy in that deal, and there's no pick. So it's like, all right, you get Tim Hardaway, Norm Powell, and then you're cutting into that like future cap space. But I guess if they want to win now, then those two guys help.
Do you know how old Terrence Mann is?
27.
Yeah, he's 27 years old.
Kidding.
It's not like he's this young guy anymore either. But yeah, I mean, like, it's going to be the same thing as the Kyrie trade, right? Like, they're not going to get, because Kyrie was on a 1-year deal. They got 2 veterans and they got a first-round pick out of it. They're not going to get the same for Harden because he's not the level of player that Kyrie is. I don't think.
Yeah.
At this point.
This is what
he's somehow like, Kyrie is more of a flight risk as far as going team to team. James Harden is more of an issue on the court because he wants to play his own game. Just listen to the Doc Rivers Bill Simmons interview where he was like, well, we were playing a certain way, and then all of a sudden James Harden wanted to play his way. It's one of the things we fear about Luka, right? That he will just continue to keep playing this way, and it's his way and all that.
Yeah, this was actually my third trade on here. I thought it was something else. I had Zubac, Batum, and Amir Coffey to Dallas.
Okay. They already tried to trade Amir Coffey.
I had Harden, Rashawn Holmes, JaVale McGee to the Clippers.
Okay.
And then Terrence Mann, Norm Powell, and Reggie Bullock to the Sixers. So interesting. All right, let's stay on the Sixers thing just for a second, because here's my last biggie. Let's go ahead and get Joel to New York.
Woo!
Could Dallas hop into that trade, that big time trade, and walk away with a Mitchell Robinson? My question for you is, I think you'd be a fan of adding Mitchell Robinson, but I've been playing around on this. I've been playing around on this trade for a bit. All right, if they trade Joel Embiid to the Knicks, which I feel like everybody's been talking about for like over a year now,
right?
They're obviously going to, probably pivot towards, a reset or a rebuild. I would assume that they would want RJ Barrett as like the centerpiece of that. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, all the draft picks. And to make the salaries work, though, for New York, they would probably need to send Julius Randle. But what if the Sixers are like, we don't want Randle because we want to suck right now? So
are we sure that having Julius Randle by himself prohibits you from sucking?
All right. So for the framework of this,
remember the Knicks before Jalen Brunson went there.
Tell me who says no on this. The Sixers get RJ Barrett, Quickly, Rashawn Holmes, Reggie Bullock, and then all the first round picks from the Knicks. The Knicks get Embiid, and then they have to take on the contracts of Tim Hardaway and PJ Tucker. And then Dallas
get Tim back.
And then Dallas gets Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle.
Whoa. The Dallas guy. Finally, a Dallas guy comes to Dallas. Of all the Dallas guys that have ever been connected to Dallas. Man.
You're probably having to put your first round pick in this for Dallas, because you're trading Tim, Reggie, and Rashawn Holmes for Randle and Robinson. And Randle made an all-NBA team.
Right.
Would that even work? Would you even want that? Like,
yes. Yeah. I mean, to get Mitchell Robinson, I think I would want to do that.
To get Robinson.
What?
You're like, yeah, I'll take Randall. So to get Robinson.
I'm just really not into Julius Randle, but
how would you feel about a starting lineup of Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson?
That's a lot for Jason Kidd to try and figure out, because Randall's weird because he wants the ball in his hands. He took like 9 threes a game last year, low key. He's not the best defender, but like you think he would be just because of his build and all that. But like he's just the best with the ball in his hands. Still good in the pick and roll, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
he's just a weird fit.
Here's the thing also that I asked you earlier when we hopped on. What if the Knicks kept Randall and instead sent Fournier and PJ Tucker to Dallas?
Then do the Mavs don't have to send a pick or anything. Then it's just Tim
So,
Hardaway and Reggie for Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway, Reggie. Who would you rather have? Tim Hardaway, Reggie Bullock, and Rashawn Holmes, or Mitchell Robinson, Evan Fournier, and PJ Tucker?
So you're swapping out Tim Hardaway and Evan Fournier.
Yeah,
you're swapping out Reggie Bullock for PJ Tucker, and then you're upgrading from Rashawn Holmes to Mitchell Robinson. I mean, I would do that. That you're not giving up enough for me to feel bad about that.
I think I would do it too. Yeah,
I can't imagine Joel Embiid right after he wins the MVP getting traded to the Knicks of all places.
I can't imagine running it back with the Sixers as Tyrese Maxey is his only guy.
I mean, this is the situation that we're in right now with James Harden, and yeah.
All right, you got one more trade.
I don't know. I had those 2 Zubac ones.
Oh,
sorry.
All right.
I gave you a bonus one because I figured out a Terrence Mann one right in the middle there too. So I gave you 4. Let us know.
I do think I want to reiterate. I think some people might say, well, why are we even doing a pod and stuff like this? Because I think everything is on hold right now. I think there are so many trades that's been talked about or halfway agreed to that people are one waiting for the 2 big dominoes to fall. Also, second, waiting for the moratorium to end. Coming up this week on Thursday. So we're kind of in this holding pattern, probably until you're going to see some smaller deals. Mason Plumlee came off the board. I feel like somebody else came off the board today. Malik Beasley went to the Bucks. Yep. Those are a couple of dudes for the minimum would have been great in Dallas, but Dallas wants bigger upgrades than that. So they're waiting out the Grant Williams situation, maybe the PJ Washington, but probably the Grant Williams thing. And then, going from there. So I'd still expect them to make a trade or 2. If it's not this week, it's next week.
The only one that they really missed on it was Eric Gordon, and he went for a minimum to the Suns on like a discount deal, and he signed an offer sheet with the Suns like years and years ago. So this is a place he's wanted to go. Like there's history there, plus all the talent that they have. So they really have not missed on any free agents yet that they could have paid because they've all been overpaid to a degree. So. There you go. We'll be back tomorrow talking more. Also, I'm going to Summer League, so we'll have all kinds of coverage from there. I'll be live from Summer League. And, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.